All right, boys, I'm super, super glad and grateful that you clicked on this video because if you are someone who has been in a fitness rut, you might have been in the gym or you might be wanting to get into the gym, wherever you're at, this information is going to be so invaluable to you. And we're going to dive deep into my 30-day transformation. Yes, 30 days on how I got in the best shape of my life from starting like this on May 22nd. So, you might be in a situation where you've been showing up, you feel like you're doing the right inputs, but you're not getting the results you want. Or you might feel like you have more. We're going to dive into all of this, and I truly, truly know that by the end of this video, you will be prepared to go make the exact same transformation that I did. Lose the weight, build the strength, get the muscle, whatever it is. I feel so confident that you are going to be ready to make that happen for yourself. So I want to show y'all where I started out and what I was able to accomplish in a short period of time. So here we are, May 22nd. This is what I look like. I took this picture and I remember I was just not feeling confident about where I was. It was not the best shape of my life, and I was mediocre in the gym, even more mediocre with my diet, and I was just off completely. And now fast forward to June 22nd. This is me right here. You can see this picture. I'll zoom in a little bit. Just night and day. No definition whatsoever. We're here absolutely shredded in some of the best shape of my life. And here, this isn't June 25th. This was July maybe 5th or so. This is probably a week ago from when I'm filming this. I forgot to change the date here, so I don't want to mislead y'all there. But this is what we're looking like now. It's just very, very different. And the physique change has been great, but we've also had an insane mindset change in 30 days, and I can't wait to keep taking it further these next 30 days because that's exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to dive into how we actually made this change. If you see this and you're like, dang, I want to get this shredded, I want to start looking like this, I want to build this frame, you've come to the right place. So before we dive into anything that's concrete, actionable, we need to dive into the mindset shift that needs to happen. You need to start to embody a completely different person than you've been. Change will not happen unless you clearly identify the version of yourself you're striving after. This is an important, fundamental principle that you need to understand. You will not change unless you know where you're going. If you're running aimlessly, I'll give you an analogy. So you're trying to get to here. Imagine there was just a huge cloud over this. You had no idea where this is, and you start back here. You might run this way, you might run this way, you might run this way. You might eventually find here, but I guarantee you it will not take the same amount of time as if you just took the cloud off and you were able to walk straight there. So you need to understand where you want to go. And success in your physique is a lagging indicator of your mindset. Now let me explain this. So here's me on November 9th, 2024. Here's me on May 22nd, 2025. These are the same physique, give or take, whatever, but two drastically different mindsets. So here's on November 9th, 2024. This physique led to, in the mindset of this person, led to 6 months later, on May 22nd, 2025, this person. Virtually no change. No progress was made whatsoever. That's exactly what happened there. This person's mindset clearly was not abundant. It did not have an identity outside of this look right here. Hence why he didn't get there. Now this person, on May 22nd, 2025, me, I don't know, almost 2 months ago at this point, but from the time of that picture up there, the 1 month transformation, this was a month before I really felt like I was in the best shape of my life. His mindset was so different than this guy on November 9th because it ultimately resulted in change. I knew here, despite looking the exact same, where I was going, the identity that I wanted to get to. And that is what it takes. You right now, if you feel like I did in this point, not confident with your body, not confident with the way you look, not confident with the output you're getting in the gym, you need to sit there and really think about your identity, and we're going to show you how to do that clearly. So you see what happened. 6 months, absolutely nothing. But in 1 month, 1/6 of the time, we go from here to here. Like, those physiques just don't look the same at all. It's about 8-9 pounds down, I think, maybe even a little more than that. So just night and day. We'll see how to get into that in a second. So along with the mindset, you lack that mindset right now. Another thing you lack that is so paramount to your success is a plan. Creating goals and a concrete plan is the best way to actually identify and start taking action where you want to go. That analogy we gave of the cloud, if you were trying to get somewhere, this is how we take off the cloud. This is how we define where we want to go. If you just tell yourself broad terms like you're going to go to the gym, do more cardio, or get in shape, it will never work. You sit there and you're like, oh, I'm going to try and go to the gym more. Oh, I'm going to go do cardio maybe every other day, 2 times a week, 3 times a week. I'm going to eat a little less, try and eat cleaner foods. No. It just does not work. I tried that. That's what this person was trying. He was like, oh, I'm just going to try and clean up my diet and see if that makes me jacked like all the people on Instagram are saying. No. First off, most people out there, probably over 95% of them, if they say that, won't hold that commitment to themselves. Modern food is so addictive, and it sucks that we have to do things like track and keep account of it, but that's just the case. So he tried that on November 9th. You're looking at him right there. Doesn't work. And for you, I wouldn't take that bet either. You need structure and daily detailed processes that will be the engine you use to actually start walking in the new identity we spoke about just now. So you're probably getting some ideas of where you want to go. It might be you in better shape, you with more discipline, whatever it be. You are seeing that now. And we're going to clearly define that even further. And like we spoke about just a second ago, no. Just because one of your friends, someone you know in person, or someone on the internet got in shape with no structure, no plan, they didn't track their meals, it doesn't mean that will work for you. One concept or frame of mind that I use that has been very beneficial for me is the 1% rule. Now, basically, what this means is you treat yourself like you are in the bottom 1% genetically for everything. So for the gym, you have to treat yourself like you are in the bottom 1%, and you need to work so hard to outwork the other 99%. You are in the bottom 1% of maybe you hold more water. Maybe when you eat poorly, it just holds on you. You have to treat yourself like you're the 1% and make choices in that regard. You probably won't be able to abide by what a lot of the people on the internet say, because that is not you genetically. That is not who you are. That is not the person you built. So don't try it. We're not going to reinvent the wheel here. We're going to use the stuff that makes this a literal math equation. If you can pass pre-algebra, you will be able to do this so easily. So, a concrete plan. We're going to dive into this a little bit deeper, but you're going to see the exact plan that I implemented. And if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I've been following this for the past month. Starting on May 29th to June 29th, I went from 187 to actually sub 180 by June 22nd. This took 3 weeks to lose over 8 pounds. 3 weeks, over 7 pounds. Like, so simple. You see all this plan, like this is very detailed. A lot of it's custom tailored to me, but I created a plan. More importantly, I sat in my car for 15 minutes, wrote all these out. I'm like, dang, I got all this stuff cluttered in my head, but I have no direction. It's all just jumbled up in there. So I just got out a Google Doc and made it. You can copy mine. That will be in the description of the video if you literally just want to take what I did. Don't reinvent the wheel. I would strongly encourage that. It's so simple. And also, we're going to get into a little bit of a journal method, but I had clearly defined goals as well. Now, these are a ton of different things. Now, this is basically the 5-4-5 journal method that I have a video for you to watch that is going to explain what's going on. But I have clearly defined goals here. This top one, 180 pounds. I looked at this every single morning for those 30 days. I looked at every single morning. Do you think that kept me in line more than if I didn't? If I was just like, oh yeah, I kind of want to get to 180 pounds, maybe thought about it here and there. No, I wrote this down every morning and looked at it, and it kept me in line with where I needed to go. So, if you've been following along and you understand that Your mindset needs a shift from where it's at. You can't be this November 9 me that just stays stagnant for 6 months. And you understand that you need the implementation of a plan. You can't just drift. You can't just follow the normal status quo advice on social media where it's just like, go eat healthy and train 3 times a week. You'll gain muscle and lose fat. No. It doesn't work like that. Now, you understand that you need a mindset shift and a plan. Naturally, what would your next question be? It would be, what should your plan include to get in shape? What should you actually do with this plan? So I'm going to give you the exact steps for that as well. We're going to go into major detail here. So first thing, and most importantly, your physique is 75+% nutrition, 100%. And this is the one thing that I made the change for, and I'm going to lay out sustainable actions for you to take. So, number 1, correct calories for either cutting or bulking. And 95% of you should be cutting. You have too much body fat on your frame, and despite what someone's going to tell you on Instagram, yes, you probably should be cutting if you don't like how much body fat you have. Most people have too much body fat. That needs to be cut down first. Now, you're not going to look huge all of a sudden if you haven't been lifting a ton. That's just the reality of it. People are going to try and lie to you, but you will look and feel so much better. Also, you need to have optimal macros. So I abided by 2,600 calories, 210 grams of protein, 220 carbs, and 100 fat. That was mine. We're going to show you how to get those macros in 1 second. And lastly, the 85% rule. I just emphasize this so heavily because it's so important. The 85% rule means that 85% of your calories come from whole foods. So I'm going to lay that out in a second, how this is a literal math equation. But essentially, just to give you a little rundown as a preface, my diet was 2,600 calories. 15% of 2,600 is 390. 390 of my calories per day could be allocated to something other than perfect whole foods. Now, I'm not saying you have to go eat a honey bun for those other 15%, but it doesn't have to be perfect, and that makes it maintainable in a way that a lot of people have never spoke about before. So I'm going to show you how to get these macros and calories for you. So there's a ton of different apps that you can use to get your total daily energy expenditure, but we're just going to use the tdeecalculator.net. It'll be in the description as well. Go on this app right now. So I'm going to type in all my metrics. I'm 20 years old. I weigh 180 pounds. I am 6'2", roughly, and heavy exercise, I would say. I'm going to underestimate this, actually, because if you're in that range where you don't really know which one of you are, you light exercise, moderate, heavy, we're going to go 3 to 5 days a week because we would rather underestimate how much we're doing so we can actually guarantee we're getting those results. And my body fat, you need to make sure to put this in. I'll also pull up the body fat markers to show you what that looks like. Body fat pictures. So, pull it up for men. Pull that up. This is the general, what most people look at. Sorry. We'll pull it up here. You should be able to see it right here. But it doesn't have to be super perfect, but just make sure you're overshooting it. So I would honestly, if I'm like trying to be honest about what I am, I'm probably 12%. That's what I think I am. I'm going to go in here and put 14%. Overshoot it because I don't know 100%. So here we are here. My maintenance calories is 2,924 per day. Now, I probably am more on the heavy exercise. If I were to just average this out, I'd probably say my maintenance is 3,000. So I need to drop this by 500. We're going to drop this by 500, and that would put me at around 2,500 calories. Now, I did 2,600 for most of this cut, which was totally fine because realistically, I probably am more around this heavy exercise marker, especially getting 18K steps, which is what I did. We're going to go through steps in a minute, but it's a literal math equation. So find your maintenance and subtract it by 500. So we'll say this is 3,000, 2,500. That's my calories. And my macros, your macros are going to fall around this range right here. 30, 35, 35. 219, 114, 256. I am a proponent of a higher fat diet. That's totally fine, and that's what you're going to be at, 30, 35, 35. If you have MyFitnessPal, go put that in there, 30, 35, 35. It just needs to be around that range. And more importantly than anything, I honestly don't care how much fats you're getting, how much carbs you're getting. I would advise for it to be around this range. But more importantly, you need to be getting over a pound per, or a gram per pound of body weight. I would recommend being in the 1.2 multiplier range. So 180 times 1.2. What is that? 216? Yeah, that's around that range. I think that's what that actually was. Where'd it go? Yeah, so 1.2, multiply that, you need to be in that range, but at bare minimum, 1 pound per gram of body weight, or 1 gram per pound of body weight. Sorry, I keep getting my words mixed up. But also, I have a grocery list that I use in my bio that will give you a lot of Whole Foods recommendations. I shop at Costco, so a lot of those might be specific to things that are at Costco, but in general, it has some great stuff that you can get. So we're gonna go over some quick tips. First off, make super simple meals. I do bowls and smoothies. That's like, I'd probably eat one of those each and every day. Here's a bowl, rice, steak, eggs, just whip those up, throw it in the bowl, super easy, boom. I suck at cooking. I can't cook crazy stuff. You probably are cluttered by seeing all these day in the lives, full day of eatings on Instagram and think you have to be some crazy chef and put it on a cutting board. No, look at what I'm eating. Literally just a bowl with some rice, egg, and steak. You know how to do that. You can cook eggs, you know how to throw rice in a rice cooker, and you probably know how to throw a steak on the grill if you have that, or ground beef, whatever. It's usually rice, egg, ground beef. If you don't know how to do that, literally look up a YouTube short. It probably takes 45 seconds. If you're not competent enough to do that, then not trying to be rude, but you probably should click off this video because this isn't going to work for you. So, also, and I wasn't trying to come off as like rude to anybody, but like this takes a small degree of competence. Cooking a steak is, you can do it. I bet you already know how to. But look at this, ground beef. Literally just threw it in the bowl, threw it on the pan, put it on hot, mixed it around, boom. Scrambled eggs, beef. My smoothie that I make pretty much every single day, just throw some fruit in there, whatever I have, blueberries, strawberries, bananas with some protein powder and some milk, like so easy. I eat pretty much both of these every single day, and that makes up for over half my calories usually. Also, eating out should be infrequent due to the 85% rule, but if you do, opt for the highest protein options. Now, don't be a recluse and not go out with your family, or if you have a girlfriend or friends or whatever. Just make sure, get a high volume of chicken, fish, or beef if you're going to go out, and limit the things that you can't track very well. Not to say you need to be perfect or you can't guesstimate. I do it all the time. It's totally fine. But for your main course, you probably want to get something with a high volume of chicken, fish, or beef. Like if I go out to a Mexican restaurant, I try and go get chicken tacos on corn tortillas, right? That's what I got. I think that was the last time I ate out, and that's what I got. Another time, went to a Mexican restaurant with my girlfriend. Just got a big thing of chicken and some rice. That was it. It was great, too. It was great. Or you don't even need to be that strict with it. Just opt for high protein options that have high volumes of it. And also, I personally don't drink. I don't think you need to be drinking at all. Just in general, health aside, I think it should be a very slim to none thing. But if you're going to drink alcohol, if you're someone that does, start only drinking tequila sodas. That's the lowest calories, and it's something that you can probably, if you drink and you care about fitness, you probably dove into that rabbit hole. But you can't be drinking super high calorie stuff. You can't be doing Coke mixers and stuff it can't be happening. So another thing that is going to be so important is make good choices in the grocery store. Make a meal before, and do not walk in hungry, because you are going to be more tempted to buy the stupid, ridiculous foods that are going to not let you make progress. So we've dialed in our nutrition. You can download MyFitnessPal. I'll have that link in the description as well. There's going to be a lot of links down there for you to follow, but you will see that. That is the easiest place to track your calories, track your macros. It has the widest database. And essentially, for the 85% calorie rule, say we were at that. So we're going to use my example. Say it's 3,000 calories. We drop that by 500. 2,500 of our calories is what we're going to meet. If we were to take 15% of that, that would be 375. 375 of our calories could be allocated that day to foods that aren't perfect. Now, obviously, like I said earlier, you don't want to be doing a honey bun or anything, but you should be doing a food that may not be perfect. It keeps you balanced, and I promise you will still make gains if it fits your macros, and if it just isn't like god awful. Don't eat ice cream every single day. Obviously, I don't think I need to tell you that. But you might eat something like, one thing that I would get a lot is I would go to Tom Thumb with my girlfriend. There was this 290 calorie Greek yogurt ice cream. It had like 20 grams of protein, but it had some bad gums in there. It had some stuff that isn't necessarily whole foods, but kept me going. It kept me sustainable, and it gave me something to look forward to. So I would apply that rule if I were you as well. So also, we're going to get into the second most important part, and it is the dialed in training and cardio. You need to be lifting at least 3 times per week, preferably 5 to 6. I am someone that believes if you don't make it a point to walk into the gym every single day, you probably won't end up doing it. Now, if you struggle with inconsistency, I would recommend actually going more. Now, you don't need to be doing crazy volume every single time, but I would actually recommend trying to go 7 days a week. You probably won't end up going 7 days a week because life gets in the way and whatnot, but it needs to become a consistent habit and something part of your daily life, and you need to rather feel like if you don't go to the gym, it's like something's off, so you're not in equilibrium. You need to be doing that at least 3 times per week, preferably 5 to 6. Cardio. You need to have a step goal. We're not going to throw you on the treadmill for 45 minutes or the Stairmaster for an hour because that sucks. That absolutely sucks. Bare minimum, over 10K per day. Optimal would be 13K plus. I did 18,000. I've got a Whoop band here that traps it. It's not actually 18,000. I think it's inflated. My average ended up being like 17,500, but it died a few times. So I would guess I definitely was over the 18,000 average each day. I would guess that probably really equates to 14 or 15,000, but I would advise doing 13K steps. If you really want this, you're going to go 13K steps, and you're going to make it a point to do that. Go on walks, play sports, whatever. That will get you where you want to go, and that's going to be our metric for cardio. You need to be getting at least over 10K every single day. Optimal would be 13K plus. If you have something like this or the Whoop, I would recommend setting your goal to like 15 or 16K on here if you have one of these. Well, I bet some of you do. So running also, this is optional but highly encouraged. This is something that I started during the plan. You can see here, this was one of the biggest things that I implemented, but where is it at? Training plan, run a mile every day. Now, I didn't run every single day. I probably ran 20 to 25 times throughout the month. I wasn't, obviously, once again, I wasn't 100% with this plan, but I was well over the 85% rule. I think is just awesome for everything. I was over 85% good in abiding by this plan on each of these, which got me where I wanted to go, and then some. If you have no plan and go from doing this plan 85%, you are going to make significantly more strides than you were before. That's a side tangent, but running is optional, but I would highly encourage, if you just take my plan, go do that as well. It's life-changing if you don't do it already. I hated running before, but now I absolutely love it. And lastly, we want to be having fun with our weight loss. Play a sport 2 times per week if you already do that. I play basketball. I get out there and play softball 1 time per week. I try and golf maybe once every couple weeks. Play a sport 2 times per week. Keep you fun. It'll keep things fun and make this not just a hellhole. Weight loss doesn't have to be that way. So, quick tips for this. You have to understand your training experience and what you're capable of. If you have been lifting consistently for years now, you likely won't gain strength on a cut. If you are a beginner or have a lot of excess body fat, you have the capability to gain strength while losing weight. So track accordingly. Now, what I'm saying by this is essentially, if you're not in a calorie surplus and you've been lifting for, we're going to say over 2 years, more so along 3 years or so, you are not going to gain strength while you're in a 500 calorie deficit. That's just the nature of it. It's too hard. You don't have your body isn't being supplied enough. It's trying to just maintain that muscle. It's in a different state. But if you have been lifting for under 2 years, you have the capability to gain strength on a cut. 100%. So it's super important that you're tracking accordingly. And if you're someone who hasn't been in the gym much, yes, have that abundant mindset that you can gain strength on this cut. Like, for instance, on my cut right now, I think that I might have gained a tiny bit of strength in some areas. Like, I just benched yesterday. I did 185 for 10, which I think was the exact same that I did when I was at my peak bulk, 15 pounds heavier, over 15 pounds heavier actually, and I'm doing that same exact weight, maybe even a rep more. I don't know if it was 9 or 10 when I was bulking, but more importantly, that just shows that you can maintain at this point. You're not going to just lose a bunch of strength like people say on a cut, but if you're someone who hasn't been lifting for very long, you will gain strength on a cut. Hit your step goal from things such as walks, sports, running, etc., like we spoke about earlier, and find what you enjoy and what works best for you. This is not a one-size-fits-all thing. I'm someone, I like to run, I try and play sports. That's where the majority of my steps come from. I go on walks occasionally, not a ton, but I get those steps in from those sports and from running, and that serves me well. If you're someone who likes to go on a 2-hour walk during the day, do it. Awesome. That'll get you your step goal very, very easily. And lastly, but very, very importantly, train hard no matter what. That is a rule you need to abide by, and it will get you where you want to go. So just picture me training, and this is how I track. So I used to track very, very detailed. I put literally every set and rep in my Google Doc. This is from a while ago. Now I keep it pretty simple. I track the main compound lift. So we're going to go back to my bulk, and when I'm tracking my progressive overload, if I'm trying to gain strength, here's my squat. I did 3 sets, 225 by 5, whatever. And then for barbell bench, I did 205 for 5, and then I wrote a little note that I was probably failed at 6, but was very, very close. That's what we had going on, and you can track it. It literally takes 2 seconds. Make a Google Doc, track it. If you want to do it on another app, in my program, I have a different way to track it, and it'll serve you very well. So the 5-4-5 journal method. This is the last thing that you need to, once again, walk into that new identity that we talked about. We need to become a new person, and that comes with a mindset change. This is going to be a big part of that. So there's a short video in the description labeled 5-4-5 journal that you need to go watch and then come back. It's going to be very, very short. It's on my Instagram. Go watch that. Pause the video. I'll see you in a second. All right. You should have just went and watched that video. You should have kept just doing that, because I'm not going to explain what this journal method is. But what I want to explain to you is I would totally understand if you had this question like, oh, how will journaling help me reach my fitness goals? Like, what the hell does that do? Every single day, we are thrown out of alignment. So what that means is you have this path that God gave you for the person you're supposed to become. And we're talking about just the physical aspect. I'm going to have more videos with the spiritual aspect and how that ties in together in the future. But we're talking about the just physical aspect today. You have that alignment, right? Every single day you're going to have things, whether it's something someone says, you might wake up in a negative state, you might not get great sleep. You're going to have things that throw you out of alignment. You're not on that straight and narrow. You need to see your goals and understand your mission at the beginning of every single day to avoid drifting off that path. Like we said, there's that cloud that's covering it. This peels back that cloud so we know where we're going. We're going towards it. We're getting thrown back into that path, and we're going to get there. We're going to get to that identity. And this journal will also just help you define who that is more clearly. You're going to understand, and it's going to evolve. You're walking into a new person. You need to become that person that's gaining that lagging indicator we spoke about of success, the same way that I did on, scroll back up here, but May 29th, drastically different mindsets. This person was abundant. He believed that he could get to where I am today. This person, obviously, given by the results, didn't. The mindset needs to change right now before you have the result. So, we defined those 3 things you need to have. We dialed in our nutrition. We dialed in our training and cardio. We got our mindset tool on how we're going to get there. But there's a funny thing with this. There's something that is very, very funny with all this. You probably knew over 90% of the training and nutrition things I talked about, which is crazy. You sat there and listened to all of it, and most of it you're probably like, yeah, I've heard of a calorie deficit before, I've heard of dialing in your macros, 1 gram per pound of body weight, blah, 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 blah. A lot of you have probably heard that before. You probably know you need to be getting steps. You probably know you need to be doing cardio to help boost your calorie deficit. This is exactly how you know your problem is an implementation problem, not an information problem. You don't lack information. All this up here, there's probably some things you learned, probably some things that are going to help. 100%, that's why I made it. But the main things, the calorie deficit, the eating good food, obviously training hard, having a plan, like besides having a plan, sorry, but that's how you know your problem is with implementation, not information. So that is the importance of having a plan and having goals. You just need to know how to apply it and how to not become overdone. So right now, if you've got to this point in this video, you can go on and keep scrolling on Instagram and getting shiny object syndrome and seeing, oh, this dude eats the animal-based diet and he's jacked, so I can just do that. Go at it. Be my guest. You're not going to make the strides that you want if you're in this position today, the same way I was. But you have the opportunity now to literally follow the plan that I've given you that is so simple, bro. So simple. And start making the strides that you want and start actually implementing the things that you know. So, overall, you need to answer this question. Is the pain I'm currently feeling in this lackluster state, you feel the same way I did right here? You feel like him. And gosh, even more so like him. But is the pain I'm feeling in this lackluster state greater than the pain I'm going to feel by changing my identity and transforming physically? Is that pain greater? And you got to actually answer that question, otherwise, because that's where change results from. It comes from understanding that your pain now in this lackluster state where you're not running after your purpose is so much worse than the pain it's going to take to get in the gym, track your calories, XYZ. Is that greater? For answers, no. You have more suffering to endure. Come back to this video when you realize the pain of being out of shape both mentally and physically. You have more to endure if you haven't realized that being in a lackluster state where you're not in your best shape physically sucks. It absolutely sucks. I did it, and you have more suffering to endure if you can't really answer this question truthfully. Yes, so, but if you did answer yes, you realize that, okay, this sucks. This absolutely sucks to be in not my fullest potential, not my fullest state. Literally steal the 30-day plan I used. We went over the essentials, the 3 essentials that you need. Do those things, abide by them, you will make the progress you want. But also, my full Google Doc that I went through that has all these other little things, some of them personalized to me, a lot of them with faith goals and whatnot, you can steal that as well. But these are the things you need to make the physical transformation that we're talking about today, and just take it. I've given you it. You stayed in this video for 32 minutes. Take it. I would advise doing those things from that Google Doc. Obviously doing those 3 things, the training, nutrition, and 5-4-5 parts. But I would advise doing it all and implementing more habits, because discipline in all areas compounds drastically. It is very, very important to understand that the way you do anything is the way you do everything. It all compounds. So if you finish this video in its entirety, this is 33 minutes, you have what it takes to make a change in your life. You have the attention span, you have the discipline, you have the drive, you have everything needed. You need to understand that you don't need to reinvent the wheel. I've laid out as simple of a plan as you will find to get shredded. I literally made it as simple as possible, took the most basic parts intentionally. And if you follow this for 30 days, dial in your nutrition, dial in your training, do the 5-4-5 journal and start to change your identity, do these things, just put the inputs in, you will 100% have a night and day physique in 30 days. Once again, you didn't lack information, you lacked implementation. Just follow this plan, even if you were on the internet seeing people say other ways. You're probably getting shiny object syndrome the same way I did for so long, the same way with that November physique I've showed y'all multiple times in this video. That was what he struggled with. I truly want to see y'all win. I really, really do. And if you stayed all the way to this video, I know you have what it takes in 30 days to look like a completely different person. And even beyond that, keep pushing it, keep making more strides. But it's what it takes. 30 days of being very, very dialed in. I really want to see y'all make this happen. If you watch this whole video, you 100% can do it. And like, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but my DMs on Instagram are always open to answer any questions y'all have related to this video. I want to help y'all. I'll give y'all as much free advice as I can, and I also offer one-on-one coaching with more detail on this, more presentations, more information that you can use, more frameworks. Like, this is just the beginning. This is just the absolute beginning, and there's going to be questions that arise, and I just want y'all to know I'm always here. I'm going to go answer every single one of y'all send me on Instagram. But more importantly, thank y'all for watching, sticking through this video. This was something that I've put together, spent a lot of time on thinking about my transformation, just strictly physically, and what you need to make it happen. Like I said earlier, you probably knew everything that I stated already. There might have been some little things that I do differently, like making bowls, making smoothies, that kind of resonated with you, whatever. You know most of this. Go make a plan and apply it. If you're someone who needs help making the plan, that is what I teach. That is what my one-on-one mentorship is for. Accountability, making a plan, making the systems that are going to move the needle forward. And what I offer is much, much more in-depth than this and goes deeper into the spiritual side of things. So, appreciate y'all for watching. Y'all have a blessed day. More of these videos coming in the future to get y'all dialed in physically, mentally, spiritually with your discipline. It's going to be awesome. Y'all have a blessed day. God bless.
So,
Oh my gosh.